ENCOLAWS lawyer, patent and trademark attorneys, investment consultants, would like to wish you a productive day and update you on our legal document updates week March 1st, 2024 with the following contents. Culture, sports, tourism visa exemption policy expanded to citizens from more countries. The Prime Minister has recently requested the Ministry of Public Security, MPS, to consider expanding the coverage of the visa exemption policy under Directive No. 06/CT-TTg. Education, training, vocational training. Particular regulations related to teachers brought into law from July 2025. Teachers who fully meet professional criteria would be granted a professional certificate, according to a draft law on teachers proposed by the Ministry of Education and Training. Insurance. New strategy aims to expand social insurance coverage. By 2030, Vietnam will have 60% of the working-age population covered by social insurance, in which farmers and the informal sector's workers covered by voluntary social insurance will account for some 5%. Land housing. Government issues new regulations on land valuation. The government on February 5 issued Decree 12/2024/NDCP, specifying 4 land valuation methods instead of the current 5, namely comparison method, income-based method, surplus-based method, and land price adjustment coefficient method. Medical health. National strategy for people's health protection approved. The Prime Minister has recently approved the National Strategy for Protection, Care and Improvement of the People's Health through 2030, with a vision toward 2045, setting the target that all citizens will have access to quality healthcare services. Transport. MOT to raise ceiling airfares next month. From the beginning of March, the ceiling price for tickets on domestic flight routes will be increased, according to Circular 34 recently issued by the Ministry of Transport. New policies related to road tolls. Effective from the beginning of February, Decree 90/2023/NDCP provides regulations concerning the rates, collection, remittance, exemption, management, and use of road tolls. The following is the detailed content. Culture, sports, tourism. Visa exemption policy expanded to citizens from more countries. The Prime Minister has recently requested the Ministry of Public Security, MPS, to consider expanding the coverage of the visa exemption policy under Directive No. 06/CT-TTg. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will quickly review the application of the unilateral visa exemption for citizens of 13 countries so far, and coordinate with the MPS to propose other countries for inclusion in Vietnam's unilateral visa exemption list. The visa-free policy expansion is expected to attract more international tourists to Vietnam and enhance the country's tourism competitiveness compared to others in the region and the world. Vietnam is currently exempting visa requirements for citizens of 25 countries, including 13 entitled to unilateral exemption, namely Germany, France, Italy, Spain, the UK, Russia, Japan, the Republic of Korea, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Belarus. Since August 2023, it has granted electronic visas to citizens of all countries and extended the stay from 30 to 90 days with multiple entries. Meanwhile, citizens of the countries entitled to the unilateral visa exemption have also had their stay in Vietnam extended to 45 from 15 days. Education, training, vocational training. Particular regulations related to teachers brought into law. From July 2025, teachers who fully meet professional criteria would be granted a professional certificate, according to a draft law on teachers proposed by the Ministry of Education and Training. Such certificate, which would be granted free of charge and valid nationwide, might be used in replacement of the decision on completion of the probationary period and the certificate of training based on professional title standards for teachers. Teachers eligible for grant of the professional certificate include intern teachers who have completed their internship and meet the professional standards, incumbent teachers, and retired teachers. Foreign teachers who meet the law-prescribed conditions would also be granted such certificates. Those who possess a teacher's professional certificate would be allowed to work for multiple schools or work as guest teachers at other education institutions. Once approved, regulations on professional certificate would help facilitate the movement of teachers between public and non-public education institutions, as well as the transfer of teachers among different localities while ensuring uniformity in quality of teaching and educational activities. The MOTE also proposes that teachers would be entitled to enjoy the highest level in the salary scale system applicable to administrative and non-business units. salaries and allowances for teachers working at non-public education institutions and education institutions applying the financial autonomy regime would not be lower than those for teachers with the same training level, seniority and title who work in public education institutions. Regarding the working regime, under the draft law, normal working time for a teacher would not exceed 40 hours per week. Teachers would be entitled to annual leave, including an exclusive 8-week summer holiday, which would replace the ordinary annual leave prescribed by the Labor Code, in addition to other public holiday and New Year holiday leaves, personal leaves, unpaid leaves and other days off according to regulations. The draft also proposes support policies for young teachers working in difficulty-hit areas or special schools, and those teaching children with disabilities or teaching ethnic minority languages or Vietnamese to ethnic minority students or artistic subjects. The state would also introduce policies to attract talented individuals to become teachers. The draft law is scheduled to be passed by the National Assembly this October. Insurance. New strategy aims to expand social insurance coverage. By 2030, Vietnam will have 60% of the working age population covered by social insurance, in which farmers and the informal sector's workers covered by voluntary social insurance will account for some 5%. Such is one of the targets set forth under the Strategy for Social Insurance Development approved by the Prime Minister under Decision 38/CT-TTg dated January 11th. Accordingly, there will be 45% of the working age population covered by unemployment insurance, around 60% of retired people receiving pensions, monthly social insurance and retirement benefits, and over 97% of the entire population covered by health insurance. Besides, the rate of people and businesses satisfied with administrative procedure settlement is expected to reach 95%, and the index reflecting the satisfaction rate of social insurance participants will reach 90%. It is also targeted to have 75% of the population receiving social insurance and unemployment insurance benefits by cashless payment modes in urban areas. Another target set by the strategy is to continue promoting digital transformation, researching, and developing the information technology system of Vietnam's social security sector to meet the requirements on integration, interconnectivity, linkage and centralized processing of dossiers. To that end, it is necessary to develop the National Insurance Database and interconnect and share data of the National Insurance Database with the National Population Database and other national and specialized databases to facilitate the provision of public services, creating favorable conditions for the people and employers, and big data-based inspection and control activities. Meanwhile, all information systems of the Vietnam Social Security that are related to the people, organizations, and businesses will be restructured with application of modern technologies for putting into operation, and interconnected via data-sharing platforms, and all the insured's dossiers, except those classified as state secrets, will be processed in the cyber environment. To achieve the set targets, the strategy sets out major tasks and solutions, including reforming administrative procedures, renovating the implementation of the single window mechanism and interdisciplinary single window mechanism in settling administrative procedures, and improving the sense of responsibility and service attitude of civil servants, public employees, and workers of the social insurance sector. Also, social insurance-related administrative procedures will be further revised and simplified, with unnecessary dossier components removed and forms and declarations with similar information reduced. Land housing. Government issues new regulations on land valuation. The government on February 5 issued Decree 12/2024/NDCP, specifying 4 land valuation methods instead of the current 5, namely comparison method, income-based method, surplus-based method, and land price adjustment coefficient method. In addition, the new regulation also details conditions applying those methods. Under the new Land Law 2024, the land price list will be published on an annual basis, with the first list applied from January 2026. On an annual basis, the Provincial/Municipal People's Committee will propose to the Provincial/Municipal People's Council adjustment, amendments, and supplements for the land price list, which will become effective the following year. The specific land price on the land price list is used as a starting price for auctioning land use rights when the state allocates land with collection of land use fees, or leases land with a one-time fee for the entire lease period. The Natural Resources and Environment Agency is responsible for helping people's committees at the same level carry out the determination of specific land prices. Medical health. National Strategy for People's Health Protection approved. The Prime Minister has recently approved the National Strategy for Protection, Care and Improvement of the People's Health through 2030, with a vision toward 2045, setting the target that all citizens will have access to quality healthcare services. Under Decision 89/CT-TTg, the prime objective of the strategy is to ensure the entire population is living in safe communities and being able to well develop both physically and mentally to enjoy improved living standards and provide quality human resources for national construction and defense. The strategy's specific targets are to intensify the prevention and control of diseases, particularly emerging infectious diseases, ensure health security and prompt response to climate change and public health emergencies, and gradually control disease risk factors, and improve the capacity to manage the medical environment, non-infectious diseases, occupational diseases, and accidents. At the same time, the quality and efficiency of the health service provision network from central to grassroots levels will be improved to respond to changing disease patterns and requirements of international integration and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The primary healthcare system will be strengthened to narrow the gap in morbidity and mortality rates among regions and ethnic groups. Meanwhile, medical human resources will be developed in terms of quantity, quality, and structure, particularly those trained to provide healthcare services at the grassroots level and in rural, ethnic minority, mountainous and border areas and on islands. The strategy also aims for a reasonable structure of medical doctors and nurses, thereby ensuring the balance between training and employment of medical personnel. In addition, greater attention will be paid to the application of high technologies to the prevention, detection, diagnosis and treatment of diseases, and research and development of pharmaceuticals and medical equipment. It is also necessary to ensure the availability of quality drugs, vaccines, biological products, medical supplies, and equipment at reasonable prices, thus meeting the people's disease prevention and treatment needs, with priority given to the development of the domestic pharmaceutical industry, medicinal materials, and medical equipment. By 2045, it is targeted that the healthcare system will be improved with the quality of medical services on a par with advanced regional countries, with a view to meeting the ever-growing and diverse needs of the people and achieving the universal healthcare coverage. Transport. MOT to raise ceiling airfares next month. From the beginning of March, the ceiling price for tickets on domestic flight routes will be increased, according to Circular 34 recently issued by the Ministry of Transport. Under the circular, the price framework for basic economy class passenger transportation services will be amended. The ceiling airfares will remain unchanged at VND 1.6 million per one-way ticket for routes which serve the socio-economic development in remote areas or islands where there is only one carrier operating, and VND 1.7 million for other domestic routes below 500 kilometers. The remaining flight routes are subject to a price increase of VND 50,000 to 250,000 per one-way ticket, depending on the length of each route. The maximum price covers all costs a passenger must pay for an airline service, excluding value-added tax and fees collected on behalf of the airport, including passenger service fees and security assurance fees, luggage, service charges with additional items. According to the Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam under the Ministry of Transport, the proposed increase in domestic air ticket prices is due to changes in the factors that form ticket prices, especially hikes of fuel prices and exchange rates. New policies related to road tolls. Effective from the beginning of February, Decree 90/2023/NDCP provides regulations concerning the rates, collection, remittance, exemption, management, and use of road tolls. As per the decree, road tolls apply to registered road vehicles, with vehicle registration certificates and license plates, that have been inspected for circulation issued with safety certificates, including cars, tractors, and similar vehicles. Accordingly, passenger vehicles with less than 10 seats registered under an individual or business household name must pay VND 130,000 per month. Those with less than 10 seats including trucks, specialized cars with a total mass of less than 4,000 kilograms, public passenger transport buses, including buses transporting subsidized students and workers, cargo vehicles, and four-wheeled passenger vehicles with motors are subjected to VND 180,000 per month. Trucks and specialized cars with a total mass from 19,000 kilograms to under 27,000 kilograms, tractors with self-weight plus allowed towing weight from 19,000 kilograms to less than 27,000 kilograms must pay VND 720,000 per month. Road tolls can be paid annually, monthly, or according to the car's inspection cycle. The registration unit issues road toll payment stamps corresponding to the payment time. For cars with an inspection cycle of 1 year or less, the vehicle owner must pay the road toll for the entire inspection cycle and receive a road toll payment stamp for that period. For cars with inspection cycles of more than 1 year, 18 months, 24 months, and 36 months, the vehicle owners can choose to pay road tolls annually, 12 months, or for the entire inspection cycle. In the case of paying road tolls according to the inspection cycle, the registry unit will issue a road toll payment stamp corresponding to the inspection cycle. At the end of the payment deadline, inspection cycle, the vehicle owner must go to the registration unit for inspection and pay the road toll for the next inspection cycle. If vehicle owners arrive for inspection earlier or later than the prescribed inspection cycle, the registration unit will inspect the vehicle and calculate the continuing road toll from the end of the previous paid period until the end of the next inspection cycle. Thank you for reading our legal document updates. See you in the next newsletter.